Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we're going to be doing a full set of acrylic nails. So the first thing that I'm doing is just going in there with a cuticle pusher, and we're just pushing back those cuticles. As always, this is just going to expose the new growth and help with reducing lifting. After that, we're going to go in with a 180 sanding band, and I'm using this at 5,000 RPMs, and this is the Scarlet nail drill by Melody Susie. And I do have a promo code for them, so I'll be sure to leave that down below. But remember that when you're filing the natural nail with this sanding band, you want to make sure that you remove the shine from the entire nail, but specifically getting really close to that cuticle area, because that's where your lifting will start at. So make sure you go all the way around the cuticle area. I always start from the right side, going all the way over to the left side, and then just removing it from the rest of the nail. And then I also use the same drill bit to kind of file down their natural nail at the free edge. Alrighty, so next we're going to go in and apply the nail tips, and these are the stiletto nail tips, which are on my website, or actually it'll be back really soon, but I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on that. And we're just using the KDS glue to apply the nail tips. The reason why I'm using these is because they're longer than my other ones, and she's going to keep her pinky stiletto and then the rest coffin, so it's going to save us a lot of time whenever it comes to filing, because once we cut these down, they're basically going to be a coffin. But just as always, remember that you want to make sure that the nail tips fit exactly from sidewall to sidewall. You don't want them to be too big or too small, because if not, they will lift or break. And then to glue them down, I'm just using my KDS glue. Alright, so now we're just going to go in and just trim the nails down to her desired length, and then after this we're going to come back in and just reshape the nails. Alrighty, so I just went in and just trimmed down the sides of the pinkies. That way it would save us some time whenever we start filing. But as you can see, I'm just using my 100-100 nail file. For the pinkies, I just follow the sides at a 90-degree angle, going straight towards that free edge to make sure that, you know, they're as pointy as they want them. Of course, if they want them a little bit more rounded, then you would round off the corners, but if not, you just follow on both sides. And then for the rest of the nails, since we are going to be doing coffin, we just follow the sides and the free edge at exactly a 90-degree angle. And then with these nail tips, the back of them, like the piece or the part that goes on the natural nail is a little bit thicker. These nails are thick, so we just have to make sure that we blend those nail tips right in the middle really good. But again, for the rest, we're just following at a 90-degree angle on both sides and the free edge. And make sure that when you're following the free edge that you hold your finger really straight and that you hold your file vertically. That way you get it like super straight. And then make sure that when you're doing this, you watch your shape, because you will be able to see your shape change. That way you be able to tell which side you need to file a little bit more in case it's crooked. After that, we just dust the nails off, and then we're going in with the primer. This is the Young Nail Protein Bond. The reason why I use this one and not the Mia Secret one is because, for one, I've actually never used the Mia Secret one. I used to use the OPI one because I had a lot of it, but then I started getting lifting, and I just figured that it was the primer. Maybe it was just a bad bottle. So I had heard a lot of good things about Young Nails Protein Bond, so I just switched over to that one. As you can see, I'm running out, but I was trying to use every little bit of it before I brought out my new bottle. After we finish applying the primer, we're going to go in with the acrylic. So I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink. As always, for my brush, I'm using my Alpha brush in a number 10. If you are a beginner, I do recommend that you go with a brush a little bit smaller, so maybe like a number 9, and just working your way up to a bigger one, as you get a little bit more practice. But anyways, now I'm just going in and doing the flame. So with these flames, you kind of just have to mess with them because they will lift up. So I just did a layer of the Mia Secret pink, and then I'm just going back in and applying a little bit of glue and just holding the flame down. That way it kind of sticks to the nail really good. And usually that's what I always have to do. Sometimes I try to get the flame to stick to the acrylic while it's still wet, but it always ends up lifting up after I apply the acrylic. So I'd suggest just applying it, and if it doesn't glue down, just go in and apply a little bit of glue, and then after that, just encapsulate the flame. Remember that when you're encapsulating, you want to make sure that the acrylic fully covers the flame. If not, it's going to get fouled off whenever you come back in to do all of your filing. Again, this is the Mia Secret acrylic pink. You could always use the clear. I just use the pink because I have a lot of it. I buy the big bottle of the pink, and it's really translucent. Once you apply the top coat and everything, you can't really tell that it's even pink. It just looks really clear. And then also remember that when you're doing stiletto nails, you want to make sure that you have a nice apex and also a good thickness at your tip, because if not, the nails will break off really easily, especially when they're longer like this. But as you can see, once you encapsulate the flame completely, it kind of looks opaque. If it wasn't fully encapsulated, you would still be able to see the flame through the acrylic. So make sure that you pay attention to that when you're doing this. But next, for the rest of the nails, we are going to be using some colored acrylics, and the colored acrylics that I'll be using are going to be a mixture of the Mia Secret ones and Nail Supply Glamour. Those are really the only ones that I have, and I kind of just alternate depending on what color I have or what color I need. But both of those work really good for me, and you can find them either on Nail Supply Glamour, or you could also find them on Mia Secret's website, which I'll be sure to link down below, as well as the promo codes. This glitter is actually by from Nail Supply Glamour, and it's one of the AB glitter acrylics. I believe this is the #1, which is the one that I use the most, and it's really pretty. As you can see, I did the same thing, just a base of the Mia Secret pink, and then just going in with the glitter, and then I'm just going in and encapsulating this. Alrighty, so now for the ring finger, we're going to do this nail all green, or like a lime green or yellow, whatever you want to call it. But first, we're doing the layer of the Mia Secret pink. Remember that the reason why I do the pink underneath is that way next time whenever she comes, if she wants to get rid of the colored acrylic, we can just file it away and we don't have to do a whole new set. And actually, I will be posting a video of that really soon, of me doing a feel on a set with all colored acrylics, so you guys can see what that process is like. But anyways, now I'm just going in with this color. This one is actually by Nail Supply Glamour, and we're just doing a nice coat under, or first before we go in and encapsulate it. So remember that with the colored acrylics, you're not building thickness, you're just making sure that you get a nice coverage, that it doesn't look patchy, and then we build our apex and our thickness at the tip with the color or whatever acrylic you're using to encapsulate, which again in this case I'm using the Mia Secret pink. But I cannot stress this enough that you definitely can use the clear. I just prefer to use this one because I have a lot of it. Alrighty, so for the index finger, we're going to be doing an ombre. So same thing, we're just doing the layer of pink. As you see, I always do the layer of the Mia Secret pink first before I do anything else. And then after that, I'm going to go in with the pink, which this pink is actually by Mia Secret, which I really like because it's like a really hot pink. As you can see, I have one by Nail Supply Glamour that I thought it was going to be close to this one, but it looks a lot more red, and I actually need to find one like this that's a little bit bigger in size. As you guys know, the Mia Secret ones come in really small containers, and I use the pink a lot, so I definitely need a bigger container. So if you know of a hot pink that's similar to this one, just let me know. And then next for the back, we're using the Mia Secret Frosted Pink, which is that off-white color. And then once we get a good coverage of that, we're going to go in and encapsulate this with the Mia Secret Pink. And also another thing that I wanted to mention is that you want to make sure that when you're applying the acrylic close to the cuticle area, you don't apply it right on the cuticle, but right below it, and then pat it down, and it's going to kind of spread the acrylic like really close to the cuticle area. And then if it does get on the skin, just go in and just wipe it off with the very tip of your brush, because if not, once it dries, it's going to be really hard to take it off. Alrighty, so for the thumb, same thing, doing the layer of the pink. And then this one is just going to be a really simple kind of marble nail. So I'm going to be using the pink. I believe it's in the color Ice Cream Pink, or just Ice Cream by Mia Secret. And then we're also going to use that Frosted Pink. And then we're going to throw in a little bit of glitter. So as you can see for this, whenever I'm doing colored acrylic, I feel like the key to working with it is just using a little bit at a time, especially when you're encapsulating, because then you don't want the nails to be super thick. So as you can see, I'm just adding a little bit here and there, and then after that we're just going to go ahead and encapsulate it. Alrighty, so now for the other hand, we're going to do something really similar. So for the thumb, we're basically going to do the exact same thing we did on the other thumb. For the index finger, we're going to do the green nail, just all green. And then for the middle finger, we're going to do the like a little Chanel decal and a flame. For the ring finger, we're going to do just all pink. And that pink that I'm going to be using for that is just a pink that I mixed together. And it's more of like a translucent pink, but it actually has like a darker hint of pink. And then for the pinky, we're just going to leave it clear. Alrighty, so I thought I was done, but then I realized that I forgot to do the decals on the middle finger. So I'm just going in and just filing away some of that acrylic, because if I was to just put them on top of the acrylic how it was then, the nail would have been super, super thick once we encapsulated it. So I'm just going in with my coarse drill bit, just filing down the acrylic after it dried for a little bit. And then as you can see, again, the acrylic that I used on this one and the index finger or is that the ring finger? The ring finger is a little bit more pinkish, and again, that's just the acrylic that I mixed by myself, and it was just like a really translucent pink, and then I added some glow in the dark pink powder, and I think that's it. So it's not too bright, but it's a lot brighter than just the Mia Secret pink. But once we apply the decals, we're just going to go in and just encapsulate them with the Mia Secret pink, and then after that we can move on to the next step. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in and just shape the nails or reshape the nails. So I'm using the same 100-100 nail file, and basically we're just going in and, you know, making sure that we have that perfect shape that we want. So we're following the sides and the free edge at exactly a 90-degree angle. The reason why we have to go back and do this is because once you apply the acrylic, it kind of takes away from the shape. So if you don't do this, like, you still have a nice shape, but we want it to be like perfect. So we're just going to go ahead and finish doing this on all of the nails, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alrighty, so after we finish reshaping the nails, I'm going in with a fine drill bit, and we're just going to file the nails really good, starting around the cuticle area, going from the right side over to the left side, just going back and forth until you seal the cuticle area really good. And the way that I usually know if I sealed really good is until I'm able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way the acrylic is not on the skin. And then also, I think this one is actually my extra coarse drill, or sorry, extra fine drill bit. And the reason why I use that one sometimes is because I have some clients whose cuticles are like super sensitive, and it kind of, you know, any little like time I touch their skin, not even cutting them, but just like barely touching them, it hurts them. So I like to just use this one for those clients. And then sometimes I kind of just use whichever one I pick up, whether it's the fine one or the extra fine. But if you are a beginner, I would suggest going in with the extra fine one, because I know how intimidating it is to use a drill, you know, to begin with as a beginner, because I know that that's how I was when I first started. I used to get a lot of lifting, but it was because I wasn't even following around the cuticle area how I should have, because I was scared that I would cut someone. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and finish filing the nails. Again, we start from the right side over to the left side, going around the cuticle area, and then filing the rest of the nail to make sure that it is nice and smooth. And this is one step that you do not want to skip, because you will get lifting if you do not seal those cuticle areas. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in and just buff the nails really good. And this is just going to get rid of any of the scratches left on the nail from the hand file or the e-file. So make sure that you also do not skip this step, because if not, you will be able to see those scratches through the nail. Trust me, I literally just had someone today messaging me asking me, you know, why could you still see scratches on the nail? And most likely it's because maybe you know, buff the nails, but you didn't buff them really good how you should. As you can see, I always run my thumb over the top of the nail to feel for any scratches, because sometimes you might not be able to see them, but they're there and you will feel them. So make sure that you do that before you move on to the next nail. And then after this, we're going to go ahead and just dust the nails off, and then we're going to move on to the next part, which will be the bling. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in, and the first thing that I'm going to be doing is just a unicorn nail. So I'm just using the Mia Secret hard gel, and we're just doing like the little unicorn nail on this one. So as you can see, I kind of just go from one side of the nail and just kind of, I don't even know how to call it, but just kind of swirl my brush as I'm going. That way it's not just a straight line. And then after this, we're going to go ahead and cure this for 60 seconds. And then after that, we're going to go in and use some pink for the green nails. We're going to do kind of like a drip nail. So I'm just using one of the Madam Glam gel polishes for this one. And when I do the drip, I kind of do like a circle, and then I drag it up like you see me doing there. And then you can do them at different lengths. So make sure that you do some short, some, you know, medium, some long, and just kind of switch them around, and then just connect them at the top. Next, we're going to be applying some of the bigger pieces. So I'm just using my hard gel, which this one is the same one that I sell on my website. Again, I will be sure to keep you guys updated on that, so you guys can check it out once it's back up and running. But as you can see, I'm applying some of the bigger pieces. So I just did a bead of the hard gel, and then I just made like a little cluster of the big pieces, and these do have to be cured, so make sure that you cure these for 60 seconds. And then before I go ahead and cure them, I'm just going to do a line down the nail with the SS12 rhinestones, which I also will have on my website. Again, I'm just applying them with the Soleil nail adhesive, and I'm picking them up with my wax pencil. Alrighty, I'm also going to apply some bigger pieces on this middle finger. So same thing, just do the bead of the hard gel, and then I'm just doing the little cluster with the big pieces. And as you can see, usually I kind of just do 3, and I put them together to where they kind of just, you know, fit perfectly in the middle. That way they don't snag on anything. And then I'm just doing some of the ABSS6 right in the middle of each little drip. And then after this, we're going to go ahead and cure them for 60 seconds. And usually the ones with the hard pieces, you want to make sure that you cure them right away, because if not, they will move around. So for this hand, we're going to go ahead and do some bigger pieces on the ring finger. So same thing, just apply the hard gel, and then we're going to apply some of the other pieces, but those, since they are flat backs, we're going to apply those with the Soleil nail adhesive. So again, the big 3D pieces will apply with the hard gel, and then anything that has a flat back, we apply those with the Soleil nail adhesive. Alrighty, so before we cure this hand, we're going to go ahead and just do the Madam Glam gel top coat on the pinky, because I am going to be applying the chrome on it to give it that unicorn look. All right, and this end is pretty much done, so we're going to go ahead and just finish it off by doing the bling on the drip now. After that, we're going to go ahead and spray this with the Mia Secret Gel Resin Activator, and then we're going to apply the Madam Glam Gel Top Coat on the rest of the nails, and then we're going to cure them for 60 seconds. Alrighty, so after this one had been cured for 60 seconds, we're just going in and applying the chrome on this one. You can't really see it too much because it is a clear base under there. But if you do a color underneath, it'll show up a lot better. But you're able to, depending on how the light hits it, you're able to see it a lot better. But in the video, it didn't show up too well. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and apply the top coat on this one as well. Again, I'm using the Madam Glam Gel Top Coat, and we're applying them on all of the nails, and then we cure this for 60 seconds. Alrighty, y'all, so here is the final look. They turned out so pretty. That shape and the length is literally perfect, and I just love all of the bling. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GetNail32, and I'll see you guys next time.